Hey everyone, much love to each and every single one of you. Thank you for joining me. My name's Kev. Please, while you are here, take a moment, take a deep breath, and relax. If you could, like, share, subscribe, donate. Details are all down below. Much love to each and every single one of you, because I love you. And I just want to say it. Thank you for joining me. This is week 3 of the world's best, the Multiverse's best remote viewing masterclass. I am so glad and grateful for you. I bet you've been waiting on tenterhooks to see what the answers are this week. I deliberately made them very obscure. Now, rather than me just getting straight into it as usual, I thought I would again tell you a bit about remote viewing. Remote viewing is a skill, and we all have it, whether we know about it or not. We use it all of the time. We use it whether we know it or not. And each and every single time what happens is another version of ourselves goes to the place where we are thinking of. That's why when you are remote viewing, you're not viewing using your physical eyes, you're using your spiritual eyes from your spiritual self. But you can also remote view from any perspective within the scene. So you can change your perspective, you can change to perceive the viewing from whichever perspective you like. You can be anything within this scene that you're seeing. You can be, for example, the tree. You can be the shed. You can be the cloud. Or you can just be a floating piece of spiritual beingness. Either way, it's not your eyes, it's not a part of your brain that's seeing. It is just receiving the information of what you're seeing when you're looking where you are. Reason why you need to trust yourself in what you're seeing is because the second that you do not trust what you are seeing, the second your brain starts shutting down the ability to be able to in future, and it will continuously send you then things that you don't trust. The reason that this can happen is because your brain can only show you what you believe to be there. Now, this is why some people do genuinely not see anything, because they believe that they genuinely won't see anything. That's why some people will see cartoons, some people will see symbols, some people, like me, for example, I see through my spiritual eyes from a being that I've sent from myself, or a thought form that I've sent from myself to exactly where I am looking at. Now, it doesn't mean that everything I'm seeing is, for example, now true, but it does mean that I'm seeing something. And it isn't even just sight, that the sense that you can have when you are sending out thought forms. You can receive or use all of your senses without ever moving. Your brain does not know what you're imagining as being real or non-real. So, as a rule, in general, it will always send to you the truth. Regardless of what this truth is, it will always send you the truth. Now, I can give you an example. Let's imagine we are taking a bite of an apple. Now, you can imagine the apple, or remote view a version of you with an apple in your hand. Now take a bite of this apple. Doing little exercises like that help you realize that you're not only remote viewing through a thought form, but you're also feeling through a thought form. So when you get good, for example, like me, I can think about a lemon and my tongue reacts to the lemon. And I'm salivating now, just thinking about a lemon. I can see a lemon in my mind's eye while my eyes are open and while I'm recording this message. That's why my throat goes a bit funny sometimes during my videos, because something I'm thinking about has affected my tongue or my throat. You can have taste memories this way. For example, with the apple, we'll stick with the apple. You can remember what it tastes like, and you can describe the texture of the skin and then the flesh underneath. You can describe how juicy it is. You can hear in your mind's eye the sound of that crunch as your teeth go through the skin on the outside. You could possibly, if you're concentrating enough, you can literally feel the apple in your hand, so to speak, even though it's a spirit version or a thought form version. It's not just sight, it's every single sense plus more senses. You can even remote hear. For example, I want you to imagine for a moment now, I'm going to go quiet, and then I want you to imagine Morgan Freeman speaking to you. And I bet that you can do that regardless of whether you've heard his voice recently or not. See what I mean? This is how cool it is. It's not just remote viewing, it's remote everything, or learning to use your whole spiritual beingness, not only while you're awake, but also while you're in two locations at once. Once you get really good at this, for example, myself, I can do this from multiple perspectives at once. I know you're only here to talk about remote viewing, however, let's be honest, once I've got used to this whole teaching thing in a proper way, I'm going to be doing more topics, not just remote viewing. So if you've got any ideas on anything that I can give lessons about, or my perspective of, or my hints and tips and tricks for, please let me know, because otherwise how am I going to know what everyone wants? I can't think for everyone at the same time. But I can share what I think people want me to share. If I didn't teach everything in the same way that I teach things, then I wouldn't be being authentic with you. I want you to learn, and I want you to enhance your life experience and those around you, their life experience. To do that, we need to cover all bases, not just the one part of anything, because we are multi-dimensional. So we've got multiple sides to us and our personality, and all of them need using, and for sake of spiritualness, you could say that they need cleansing and clearing. However, that's not necessarily the case. They do need to be expressed, is what I should say. So now back to this week's actual episode, or weekly episode, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to give you the answers for the 4 different things that we spoke about last week. If you haven't seen it already, I advise you to go back to episode 1 so I can give you the full rundown on how remote viewing works, what remote viewing is, and how to use it to change your life experience. So here are the 2 objects I held in my hand. The first one being a clear quartz miniature crystal ball or crystal sphere, and the other one is a piece of lapis lazuli tumblestone, which means it's not in its original form, it's been sanded down to be more hand friendly. For the clear quartz crystal sphere, you could have seen something round, you could have seen a sphere, you could have seen something transparent, you could have seen a circle, you may have seen a circle object in my hand, but you couldn't define what colour it was. You could have seen that it was in fact clear quartz, or known that it was in fact clear quartz. You knew it was smooth, or you could feel it was smooth, you could see it was smooth and round. All of those are good answers for remote viewing. Now remember, if you're not exact or precise in these things, do not worry about it, because nobody starts off at a high level of accuracy. However, it can be trained and nurtured, and just like any hobby, once you get used to it, it's snap done. With the lapis lazuli, you could know or have known that it was a lapis lazuli. You could have seen a square or a pyramid style shape or a pointed style shape. You could have seen blue and gold, or you could have seen just blue or just gold. Any of these things, anything at all, even if you felt like it was smooth rather than pointy and sharp, if you could see that it was blue, see that it was partly gold, see that it was a squarish shape, see that it had been rounded off, all of these again, great answers. How did you do with those two? I know it was tricky, and to be fair, you probably may not have wanted to quote unquote see through my eyes, but you could have seen from the wall, or you could have been an air particle next to my head looking down at my hand. You didn't necessarily have to see through my eyes, but it's just another kind of training technique or training tip that I can give you to help you learn. So I asked you for this next part, where I went on holiday as a child and where I revisited as an adult. And this isn't to see if you could, quote unquote, get it correct. It's just to see what details you see that you can now confirm are actually there. It's in the county of Devon, and its name is actually Pagham. Now this is spelt P for Peter, Agham for mother. So that's where I went, Pagham in Devon. I believe it's in Devon anyway. And that is where I went. You can see there is a shingle beach or a stone beach, but there is lovely sandy beaches as well. There are marshlands. There's also, as you'd imagine with the sand, there is the grasslands around there. There are fields, there are cliffs, there are the White Cliffs of Dover. You've heard of those ones here. I don't know if that's in the same part. I've not bothered to look. I know it's in Dorset, I believe, where we went. Again, don't quote me on that because I can't be sure. As you know, I don't research anything. So any news is news to me. That's why I like finding out from other people when I have remote viewed something or I have seen something during a reading. I love hearing back about how I got details correct, because that's thrilling to me. Some people love their job for other reasons, but I love it for the thrill that getting things correct makes me feel. I like that. Makes me feel like I'm doing something. I'm really doing something. However, having said that, do not judge yourself over whether you get things incorrect. Okay? Now, you can see there's so many things in these pictures that you may have seen a red patch and you think, that doesn't look like anything what you might see, but you may have been remote viewing this picture, this exact picture. So you were remote viewing a future from a past picture. So you did pretty well just by guessing the colour red. If you saw blue skies, if you saw stones, if you saw boats, if you saw the sea, if you saw grasslands, if you saw people sitting on benches along the seafront, if you saw beach huts, because there's lots of those around there, if you saw little sailing boats, little kayaks, surfers, they're all there. Now, how you can tell you were at the right place at the right time when I revisited, the weather was not that good. So if you saw sunny weather, then perhaps that was a different time that you were seeing. However, we went in October, so it was pretty chilly. Okay, so to quickly round up, this is the end of this week's episode. However, I have drawn out 3 tarot cards. So I've drawn out 3 tarot cards. Now, I haven't looked yet, but I'm going to look at them some point over this week. However, I want you to remote view what these 3 tarot cards are. I can't stop, otherwise I'm going to have the same audio distortion at the end of the video as I did last week. That's why I'm rushing now. Got a couple of minutes, so I will say there's 3 tarot cards, and it's your job this week to remote view what these tarot cards are. Now, I was going to do a lot of examples this week, but given the time thing on this app, I'm going to have to keep it short and sweet. So thank you for joining me. Try and see if you can divine or remote view what you think these tarot cards are going to be. Come back next week to see what the results are. Now remember, any shapes, colours, feelings, keywords, anything within the symbol or the picture on the card, anything from the word, anything. And we can see how much you get next week. Thank you for joining me. I love you. Please like, share, subscribe, donate. Details all down below. I love you. Thank you for being here, and I will see you again in a bit.